last game of the day will determine third. Obviously, this has an implication on third as well. So there's a little bit to go on for our final play day for the Oceania League of Stage 2 as we finally get underway with the curtain raiser between Bandits and Odium. We head to the map veto, to the ban veto process as well. We've already got Oregon as our map. It will be Odium banning first here an attacker, and it is Ying. Woo!
And then it will be Dockerby.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Dockerby lately, haven't we? It's become very influential, helps out with the clearing of positions, also the entry points as well towards site, and we'll see whether or not Bandits do want to go down that path. Look, they've got a new player in today. I don't know if that was touched on the desk.
Presidius.
Presidius. Never played before. I'm going to call him Presidios.
Well, you would be wrong.
I'm joking. And obviously, though, for Odium, it is their usual core 5. Solus gets banned out. And of the last one, Valk or Azami, which one are you picking?
I'm going to say Mirror. I'm going to be a little bit spicy. Mirror can be very impactful, especially bot 4. And I think Odium will back themselves in to still win that without the Mirror. So we'll see. Kaid.
And we're both wrong. It is Kaid.
So every day of the week you see a Kaid ban. So
no, not that often. But to be fair, on Oregon, of course, Kaid can still be quite impactful with those particular hatches towards meetings, security. And the have funs do go out in the chat, of course, for both of these two teams. Their last official game for the year. Neither of them can, of course, make the major. And I don't think either of them can make SI for that matter.
No. I think even for Bliss, if and when they, well, I shouldn't say if and when they qualify for the major, but if they qualify for the major, even they still, I think, need to perform at Atlanta to make the top 20. So, yes, only a discussion for a little bit later on as we jump into this one. Round number 1, Basement will be Odium's first initial choice, which does make sense. Mirror, of course, did slip through the ban phase. We expect that to be played throughout. A couple of deployable shields as well, and the mute extension as well here, so Odium will commit to the roam.
Yeah, so obviously for this game, really nothing at stake. Very much getting that point across as early on for Odium. Yeah, 7-1 is the scoreline required to have any chance of top 3 to finish third. So, of course, as they can maybe start well, continue to build on some defensive rounds, get off to a good start, then maybe that's a storyline we can sort of start to focus on. I think that's a very unlikely. Like, the gap between these two teams, I don't know if it's like 7-0, 7-1 territory. I think it's closer to 7-3, 7-4. And especially on a map like Oregon, you can typically find rounds. And you can do some cheeky things as well. Your Amaru in towards the kids' dorms can open things up quickly. Of course, you can go for some rushes through Blue Bunker on a laundry supply site. Rappel in towards Big Tower, confirmed by Presidios.
Presidius.
Well, he does end with OS.
Okay, Xenox.
That does technically work.
Xenox.
That doesn't work either. Well, that nade's going to go straight past the shoulder of Saved. MML just hanging out towards Blue. There's, of course, smoke over towards Elbow. That's Karma. He's had a bit of an up and down kind of stage. Has Karma. Probably came in with a little bit more expectation towards stage 2 and hasn't quite fulfilled that. It is an addict pressure push, though, by Odium on the defense, and he has been spotted, though, Bappin. Oh, it's 4 white. Oh, really good flashes. Presidius?
Yep.
Perfect.
We're sticking with it. Yeah, good flashes there. Push out that pip position. MML still lurking outside of Blue, and Karma will likely need to keep eyes on that position, suspecting that there may still be an attacker looking to probe that particular point of interest. So 60 seconds on the clock, lobby open, security open, meeting hatch open as well. So the groundwork here from the Bandits has actually been pretty good. Man advantage for the drop, and Presidius will send it forward.
That's aggressive, though. That's going to get punished, and he's gone solo. The player backstairs didn't swing. No one from Blue Bunker was able to push out either. That just seemed as if Bandits were not on the same page. Bit of a strange one. That's really going to cost the round for them. EMP grenade to go out as they are still doing a lot of work in E-Box. That was a surprise drop.
Nothing wrong with dropping E-Box, but the rest of the team needed to be there for the trades. Crossfire is now established by the defense in a 3 versus 3. Eraser has a read that someone may be close. It's President with the shotgun. Don't know how good that read is, though. We'll see if Eraser is able to swing and get the kill. President, though, swings first. One with the hip fire. SMG in hand, but he gets traded out. So 15 seconds on the clock. Cairo up close and personal. Karma as well through blue. And it's a decent little round from Odium.
Yeah, just prior to that last 1v1, Karma actually got the down, pushing out at elbow, and that basically made it a 2v1 push, and Cairo was able to win. He's won, and Odium do get the opening round. Not really the most clean round to begin with. Bappin losing this battle towards Pit, probably not ideal. Really good use of the flashes from Presidius, but yeah, then he ends up dropping E-Box super early. No response from the rest of his team. He basically went solo, gets punished for it. That then gives the advantage to Odium, and I think from that point they were never going to forfeit said advantage from that point onwards. We go to Kid Storms for the second round. 6 more rounds. What happens if they go 7-0 then compared to 7-1? Does that just increase the likelihood?
So 7-0 would then give them a +8 round differential. So that would be equal with Carlton's Knights. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference though, because they would, I think, still need Mammoth to win in OT. I don't know. These are some complex math equations, mate.
Don't worry
you're
too much
asking
about
for
it.
a lot here. I only just woke up. It's 6:30.
Surprised you're even here for work, mate. Usually just still in bed on the phone, on TikTok.
Hey, I don't know about that. We've had to wake up at bloody 8 AM for Latam this stage, mate.
Oh, wow.
I'm reformed.
Poor us. Save, seeing if he can be a bit cheeky. Probably anticipating a little bit more of a standard push here from Bandits, though. The way that they are posturing towards that balcony does lead itself into wanting to clear out that bedroom position, open up that game's wall. Trophy, though, being fortified. Karma does get tagged up, still has that deployable shield.
Yeah, probably a little bit lucky to actually survive that little engagement, Karma. Presidius now bottom floor, MML as well. Bappin on the roam through kitchen, so we may see the attack look to triangulate that position and flush out the Oryx. President up close. Inside of Trophy, the deployable shield still stands, but I think the EMP will be used to facilitate a Selma, which it is.
Oh, he cleared it.
Good clear though.
Two more Selmas available from Jacko, throws out another one. That for Games Wall, though. More posturing inside a bedroom, though, from the Bandits. President just watching and waiting for that eventual push in towards Trophy. Does get tagged, a little bit of chip damage onto him. Probably expecting one in that corridor as well to push through. Jacko lost his life. That's to Cairo, I think maybe from the main breach. Bappin gets involved. It just seems as if Odium have all of the angles covered. And at no point were Bandits ever in a position to really swing with sheer numbers. Presidius spotted towards C, and he's going to get probably pushed upon by many different angles, many different players as they hunt him down. He falls back to Classroom. It's a 5 versus 1. Odium will start 2-0 here. Oh. The timing on that as President just slips in towards Armory.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good example, right, of Oregon where Bandits are cooking up decent ideas. They're doing relatively, the expected things, trying to clear Trophy across, whatever, but just the execution, it's not quite on the same level that it needs to be against the likes of Odium, allowing President to swing and get the shield, allowing Cairo to apply pressure through Pit. Just little things like that, they add up. They make it difficult, of course, to get your teeth into an attack. So we'll enter a tech pause. Odium teasing Meeting Kitchen for round number 3 as they seek the perfect start.
Yeah, to reiterate that, technical pause, not a tactical.
Well, technically.
Meeting and Kitchen for the third round. Odium very convincing in that Kid Storm site, considering Laundry and Supply was probably not all that convincing. Bandits throwing away a couple of picks, and even then it came down to a 2 versus 2. Probably hard to envision Bandits are going to find too much success here in this match. It's probably just going to be a question as to how much in terms of Odium's victory. Can they get that magical 7-1? and even just sort of be in the conversation for third place. Do you think that would be deserved for Odium this stage? Do you think third is something that you kind of... You got to remember, obviously the top two are pretty clear top two, and there's a massive gap. So from Bliss and Triple R to then say Odium third, over Mammoth, over Carlton's Knights, it doesn't sit well with me. No offense to Odium, but it doesn't sit well.
You're not getting the right vibe.
No.
Well, I think the reason for that probably stems from the amount of overtimes, right? Just the frequency of them was very, very high, especially compared to other teams. So it does sort of plant that seed of doubt that Odium haven't been able to close out games in a particularly strong fashion.
What was their score against Bliss? Because as we know, they went the distance with Triple R.
8-6 loss.
Wow. So 8-6 and 8-7 versus the top two. When the season was on the line, when there was still a lot of games to be played, and when they go into those games with the idea that if you win them, suddenly a chance to go to the major is there. So 8-6 and 8-7, that's a bitter pill to swallow. And I guess if you take that into account, they would have then won. They won on Monday. If they win tonight, maybe third's not so bad. And maybe that feeling of third doesn't sit that well is simply down to, as you said, overtimes aren't convincing.
Yeah, it would have been a pretty wild timeline.
Is that the only two losses they've had? Well, I swear they lost somewhere else.
They lost to... They beat Carlton's 8-7. They lost to Aerial Rise, so that's a pretty bad loss.
Yeah, that probably shouldn't be happening. And I think that's probably the difference between an out-and-out third versus more so just in the conversation. Double spawn kill start here onto Drift and Presidius as they both are eliminated and losing to Thatcher. Not ideal for Kitchener meeting. It really doesn't help opening up that meeting wall if it is indeed fortified, which it will not be though, based on the lineup that we're actually seeing from Odium. So the Thatcher probably was not going to be all that important anyway, but still 2 players dead, 2-player advantage for Odium. Defense over towards Kid Storms. MML in towards Bedroom, looking to push through Trophy. Safe though, comes from the corridor, and he should be good for one. Bang, head, no, missed it. Doesn't matter, 2-player advantage for Odium still resides inside of the map, as they did find a kill onto a Razor. So that's the buck dealt with, and it's just MML and Jacko, and actually double stacked together over towards Trophy.
So we'll see if Bandits are able to clear out this top floor hold. Cairo down below though, applying pressure.
Wow, we're speedrunning this.
I think Odium have become a bit fed up with the pacing of this game. The double spawn pick, they'll mop up elsewhere, 3 straight.
Yeah, I think really sort of highlighting the gulf, the gap between these two teams. A team that I think Odium coming into this stage most likely had major ambitions and expectations, or at least to be in the conversation. Unfortunately, the way the sort of fixture worked out for them meant that they kind of lost the ability to be in that conversation rather early on in the stage. But they've been able to, fortunately, get a couple of wins to close the stage out and at least end up back in a more commendable position. And for Bandits, I think their solitude point, the solitary point that they've gained was back on Playday 1, Game 1. Since then, they've picked up nothing.
So there's a decent little prize gap associated between finishing third compared to fifth. Third place gets 12,000 Australian, fifth place gets 7,500 Australian. So you think of that difference, that's about 3 avocados on toast.
That's a lot of dollary-doos.
Yeah. Maybe 2.5 avocados on toast. I don't know. The inflation's pretty high.
That's a day's rent.
Half day, if you're lucky. So yeah, they need to, of course, for that to be a possibility, win this in a dominant fashion, 7-0, 7-1. And to be fair, so far, it's actually kind of looking likely.
Yeah, they go back around the world. They head to Laundry and Supply for the second time. Obviously, the first time we saw it actually was the most convincing round from the Bandits, ironically, in a round that they also kind of threw things away. It was a good little push from Presidius up towards Attic, got the kill onto Bappin, over towards Pit, and then from there he just dropped E-Box, and that kind of unraveled the round for Bandits. I wonder if they go for a similar take once again, and somewhat yes is the case. Presidius straight in towards Big Town. Backstairs though being watched by Saved. He has been droned out. The default camera was also still up to watch Presidius come on in. They haven't changed their lineup too much. Although once again, MML postures towards blue.
So Cairo then looking down in towards blue. And what a little storyline that was between Cairo and Logic back playday number, I can't even remember the number, but it was a little while ago now. That 8-7 that went the way of Triple R on September 19, so a couple of weeks ago. That 1v1 goes the other way. We may not have even had the match tonight, but maybe have some different circumstances surrounding it.
It would have been, what, one less point, so they would have been actually tied coming into tonight, I think?
Potentially, yeah.
No, it's a 2-point gap, so it would have been a 1-point gap, but still, regardless, what happened, and I think we're all kind of glad it did in the way it did. 5 versus 4, though, and an opportunity again for Bandits here on Laundry and Supply, as they had in the opening round. And as was the case with the opening round, it's Presidius that found that early kill. This time around, though, no trade, and he hasn't just dropped E-Box by himself. A little bit more time committed to just getting themselves into positions. They've got themselves pillar control. Razor's just tucked on in. E1D to go out. That's the last one from the Lion of Drift. Gemini available from MML over towards blue. They haven't dealt with Karma, but that was his final gas babe available to hold that elbow position. 45 seconds left. Karma swung and he wins, and he also get the player in towards E-Box. Cairo helps out. A good little double swing. And that player's down as well, so it's a 4 versus 1 because Karma was able to push out from behind. Drift is up above. They now know this. 1 versus 3. He drops. Surely can't do more from there. No, he cannot. Bappin from the hallway gets the kill. It's 4-0 to Odium.
Yeah, good showing there from Karma, who I think throughout the stage we've probably been a little bit critical of at times, defensively especially. He can sometimes find himself in positions that aren't particularly favorable, and it's probably off the back of making plays similar to this. On this occasion, though, he gets away with it. Bandits are not holding down that blue position. No one outside blue. No one holding it from bricks, for instance, either. So a bit of an oversight there from the attack. A couple good shots, though, from Karma. And then, of course, the team holding on in the 3 versus 1. So 4 straight for Odium as they seek that 7-0 victory.
Yeah, and not much to suggest that they won't be capable of, at minimum, 6-0 from here, which gives them every chance of closing this out 7-1. I do have to wonder if they're actually aware of the 7-1 required. I mean,
do they really care? I mean, that's the other point.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing
they
as well.
Probably do to an extent.
So if you did want to obviously figure out, hey, how do we get third? But at the same time, I think irregardless of that, you probably just come into this game with the mentality of, let's just win, let's just stomp them anyway. Whatever happens, happens. And so you probably don't look too much into the finer details. Could be wrong. Maybe they are aware. To be fair, they're not really doing too much to suggest that they're like really try-harding this to close it out in an incredibly try-hard fashion. I think they're just doing the basic fundamentals, and Bandits have not really offered, too much competition, unfortunately. But I think a lot of it actually is just coming down to Odium are playing well. This is what you expect from them. It's a reason why they were able to push both Triple R and Bliss to OT. The fact that they were able to do that looking back on the stage, and if they win this comfortably, then I think 3rd or 4th probably is rightfully where they would belong.
We'll see if MML can have an impact on entry this time around. Unfortunately, only the 1 kill. A Razor as well on a donut. This time on the Amaro, so quick entry, big tower. Did he think he had secondary hard breach? Because he does not have secondary hard breach.
Yeah, I think he thought that. Oh, that's a rookie error.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, again, but it's the little mistakes like that Oregon, they're exposed so much larger on other maps that are a bit more dynamic, like a border, for instance, or whatever. Like, you can get away with that. On Oregon now, your entire plan has to now change because you're looking for addict control. Now you're not going to get it.
So that will stay sealed and shut. Presidius, though, he's had an impact in this game. 3 and 4. He's the only one that's been able to find these early kills in the round as well for Bandits. Razor makes his way in and talk about maybe making up for the round. This will still be rather one-dimensional from the Bandits, but they've been able to get a good start with the 2 kills. Bappin down below. Vert still needs to be dealt with and saved in towards Pit. This is a big position. No one's going to be able to push behind him, but he can't survive anyway on the frontal contact from Drift. And finally, Bandits will be on the board. It comes down to Kid Storms to make it happen. And it does now mean for Odium, as they lose this round, they have to win the next 3 straight.
Yeah, some good work from Bandits in this round. They won those head-on gunfights. I thought that maybe Saved would still be able to fortify his position pit because he didn't have the pressure coming from behind through Attic because there was no secondary hard breach, but unfortunately he didn't win that particular fight. It was locked down decently by Bandits. They got around. And yeah, for Odium, especially for their opportunity to jump up the leaderboard in a significant fashion, pretty much need to now win the next 3 straight.
So the big thing for me now, if they don't manage the 7-1 scoreline, does that change anything for Mammoth and Carlton's Knights in terms of that particular game later? Does that make it a little bit more sort of final in terms of what is required for both of those two and how they're to get that 3rd spot?
So the difference to Mammoth is 5 rounds at the moment, round differential. So if this is, for instance, say a 7-2, then they would be equal on round diff. Naturally, regardless, is going to be at least a 1 point up or down for Mammoth because you can't have a draw.
Yep.
So I think there might still be a world in which they would be okay. I guess it comes down to also the Mammoth Odium head-to-head, which would come next.
Mammoth won that, or Odium won that?
And Mammoth... Because this was Barbie Boys originally, right?
Yes.
So 8-6 victory to Barbie Boys on the first play day. So if there's a world in which Odium and Mammoth draw on points and round diff, then Odium could jump up a spot.
Okay.
So,
but at 7-3, then it's totally just...
Well, 7-3 would then be 4. It would then be reliant on Carlton's Knights winning the game outright because then Odium would actually just jump them on points anyway.
Yep.
Because Mammoth are on 10 points, Odium are on 9. Regulation win puts them above both teams at least heading into that.
He's got secondaries.
Well, he was listening.
It's kind of incredible that you can make a mistake like that and then it just didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they got to pick elsewhere and then he just jumped in satellite, so it didn't matter.
And then saved the position inside a pit where what turned into a very key anchored position because no one could push behind him, ended up dying anyway. So 4-1, final round to close the half out. Yeah, I don't know if Bandits are going to have enough in the tank to claw back even, say, a win from this sort of position, but I'm pretty sure a loss now means they would end up being the only team this stage without a win. So something to fight for, something to think about. If they can execute well here this round, in towards meeting, they open up Exothermite. Breach opened up, Karma watches close by. No one makes a push though off the initial breach. Presidius over towards Garage, still just sort of lurking. 90 seconds left. It's a big stack over towards this big tower position. Bandits making sure, of course, no movement from Odium in terms of flank. Odium, they're just more than happy to allow Karma to play that front man, but he loses his life to Jacko. Traded though immediately by Cairo. Bit of an angle that he's created in from Kitchen. He too also gets shut down. Now they start to push. Bappen also needs to go off of this and help out. Wins the battle above. Now he's got Vert. Spots the other. Doesn't spot the planter, but that's fine. Bappen does more than enough with a bit of help from Saved. They got the plant, but that was all that could be found for Bandits. And Odium will take a 5-1 lead at the conclusion of the first half.
Oh. That's why Sky's on the big bucks. Did you see that? That was incredible. I felt cinematic, right? I felt like I was in the moment. I felt like a Hollywood blockbuster.
Yeah, but we didn't get to see the defuse because it was behind the table.
Add that to the feedback sheet. I mean, again, just an example where Odium there, too sharp, good pressure on site. Bappen as well, still able to hold up above, a critical point of interest for the attack. You lose control of the hatch, you pretty much lose control of the site. Bappen then able to pounce, jumps on the kit, plenty of time. So 5-1 lead.
I should mention as well, it was a Razor on the Amari that time. And so Presidius was the one that didn't have the secondaries. I wonder if he lost the Amari license. That must be an awful feeling. Imagine you're just sitting there like, oh, guys, I didn't bring secondary.
I feel even worse for him because he's going to go back and watch the VOD and, you know, you have a 1 in 10 chance of pretty much being spectated at that point in time. But Sky very switched on, reading into the big tower push.
What's even worse about it too is that he flashes himself. Yeah. So it was just, it went as bad as it possibly could. Yeah. Fortunately for him though, and we're happy to continue to give him the plaudits. He's 4-5. He continues to perform well in his debut game, which is also alongside another debutant at this stage in Jacko too. So Bandits clearly able to bring together a bunch of these sort of new age Siege players, and it's going to take a bit of time. All of these guys have been through the ringer where they've started out at the bottom and they've had to really work their way up, and it's just never going to happen immediately. And so there always has to be a team at the bottom of a particular standings, and for, well, the newest team, it makes a little bit of sense that as they get their bearings at the Pro League level in Oceania, that, yeah, they're going to have to do their time towards the bottom first.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these teams get up to during the off-season break, which is going to be very long for all these teams outside of Bliss being the only one I think that can realistically make SI from this point. So, going to be quite the break.
Yeah, and you never know really what teams are thinking. Triple R might get an opportunity to pick up one or two players that just change, again, the full dynamic and create a super team, if you will, or maybe they're happy with the core 5. Maybe one guy is been playing well, but you're not too sure if he wants to stay. Like, there's so much that changes every single stage. And that's why you see teams previously in this region, you look at the Chiefs, you look at the old Knights, you look at the current day Bliss, the longer you can keep that core together, the more benefit that you're going to find from it.
So a minute 30 then into Odium's first attack, and they're just poking and prodding their way around the map, trying to find some control. Saved and Cairo will double stack White Stairs, and Save looking for an early peak. That's not the most favorable of positions, but Presidius probably not quite confident enough to commit to that peak. It's understandable. Drift in position to potentially flank through lobby. Nobody outside lobby itself, so he should be clear to make a push when he feels it's the right moment. 60 seconds. Sledge is at the top of the stairs, and that's a free kill. So 4v4, minute on the clock. Odium will need to be conscious of that roam down below as they look to try and hit site.
Cairo should be able to get this. Oh, what a shot from Drift. So punishes Karma, gets Cairo. Saved though, of course, who had already pushed up top white. He actually pushes into site, gets the kill. Expecting the push. Where was he looking though? It was about 2-3 meters above Drift's head. Doesn't matter. President gets the kill eventually onto Drift, who did the majority of the damage to this Odium roster. In fact, I think he found all 3 of the kills. But elsewhere, the rest of Odium, the ones that didn't die to Drift, they were able to make a large impact on site. It's 6-1 and 1 round away from that magic 7-1 scoreline for Odium.
Yeah, so Odium's chance of finishing third still alive. Good round for Drift. Nice flank. He got the first. He was then very conscious that somebody was going to be watching this flank and hit yet another nice pick, and then Saved, of course, looking to then respond as well, expecting to push up white. Got caught at a bad time and his crosshair placement wasn't exactly where it needed to be. Fortunately, though, Drift, we know how difficult it is to get back up White Stairs towards the objective, and he gets caught out. So 6-1 the scoreline. Bandits to basement. I think there's a realistic opportunity they are able to extend this match out, so we'll see how they go. No merit in play, though, for them. So leading into the Goyo, Presidius has been given the Warden license, which is, you know, signs that he's obviously playing in a confident fashion, and the team respecting that.
Yeah, Drift had a good round as well there. He got a couple of kills. Obviously a difficult match here. Odium just, I think, playing with a sense of purpose of wanting to close the stage out in a good fashion. And unfortunately for Bandits, it has been a rough one. Even when they've done some nice things, they haven't been able to turn those nice things into a round win. And that's probably been the issue. I still think back to that opening round on Laundry Supply. Not saying they should have won it, but they were in a position to do it. They just weren't able to really kind of put it all together. And I think that's a way to sort of summarize this game from their perspective, is like, do a bunch of good things, just can't quite put it all together, though, to get a round win. No position being held towards Albo. Karma actually probably wondering what's going on here as he sent the Rotero in. But Jacko then, off the back of that first one, pushes up and can actually get a free kill onto that second Rotero. And now holds a bit of a forward position. No deployable shield brought from Bandits, so it is not as, well, strictly held by Bandits, a little bit more vulnerable. It also means that the Flores is not really as needed in that area. Cairo wanting to probably get security control on the Montang. happened to play behind.
Oop, that's a bit awkward. Magnet not spotted. Saved as well, downed up above. MML and Erased can now retreat. The Nitro Cell expended. Bandits won't know that they got the down, but that may serve them well later on, as Saved will be very low on HP for that final push. Rest of the team, they're looking to bunker down. They do need to be mindful of the push through blue. Karma's currently situated outside there with the Rotero. Elsewhere though, Freezer on the opposite side. Cairo can march forward with the Montang. And it is Karma to get the first pick outside blue. Cairo now feeding good information. He's spotted 2 players from this position. An impact in response, but that isn't really going to do much to the Monty. Able to shrug off both impacts.
Yeah, wasted there from MML. Drift's got 2, but
You want it for Saved because he's so low, but they won't know that.
60 seconds remaining. Save doesn't initially push on that melee swing from Eraser. Does eventually, though, gets a free kill. They know there's one pillar. That pillar player is actually Drift, and he swings, gets the kill on Karma. Backstairs. But it's a massive stack towards Freezer, so triple push from Freezer. 1 laundry, though. That's going to be the Habana of President. He's the one that's got the diffuser. But fortunately, Save gets the kill onto MML. Drift, very low. He's been so good in this game, but has he got a little bit more? No. Tries to push through the rotate hole, and he gets shut down by President. So 7-1 will indeed be achieved by Odium. No chance for Jacko. And the GGs come out for the final time from both of these 2 teams for 2023. Just like Qual. Oh, jeez. That's a bit rude. That's a bit rude.
They're already in the dirt. He's just rubbed it in a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, they got the 7-1. They got the 7-1.
Yeah.
So really, I guess, from their perspective, job done.